What is up? Welcome back to the On the Burst podcast. I'm your coach, Brandon Savage, and I'm joined by my assistant coach, Timothy Moody.
Am I on camera there? It just looks like it's pointing to someone else, but yeah, it's getting me. That's
You're
weird.
not near the microphone.
I feel like the camera's looking at me like this, like out the corner of its eye. A bit weird. It's really weird. It's not pointing to me, but I'm on though. So yeah, I'm happy with it.
Oh, did I? I must have bumped it.
You must have.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, it was just weird.
There you are.
Yeah, all right,
You're center
cool.
now.
Yeah, all right, sick.
That's my bad.
No, you get down the big games. I think this is definitely a big game.
There's a lot of big games coming up in the NRL. We're an NRL podcast. We talk big games, and there's a lot of big games coming up. Timmy,
We talk big games. We don't play it. We talk a big game, but we can't.
that's it. We weren't here last week. Last week we finished our Supercoach show. We had nothing really planned for last week, and we were just like, "Do you want to call it early?" And we knocked off early.
Yeah, we couple of frothies. No, there was no frothies. We just
we should have done that.
Yeah, we should have a couple of frothies.
Although
The boss didn't let us.
Although usually when we finish the podcast here, we go straight home, and we're scheduled to be here like 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. But lately we've had the Daily Telegraph show, which has got in the way, so we start recording at 5, and then last week we finished at like 6:15 still, and we hadn't recorded on the burst yet. So we'll just like early mark. It's not really an early mark, but it's an early mark from what it would have been. And no
We had to buy last week. That's all it was. It was just a buy.
That's it.
Scheduled buy.
No regrets, but I'm sorry to the listeners that were waiting for it. There's none of you. No, there probably is. There's a lot of people that listen, like Brock Fit. He's one person
From
who's
the
like,
chat, yeah.
he's
Loves
big,
it.
he's big on Instagram. Big on Instagram and TikTok. He always messages when he's
Cheers, Brock.
gearing up to listen to it. And the Cast Patrol, their dad listens to our podcast. They call him Niven Cleary. He's
I
like
love that. He did have that vibe, didn't he? I remember seeing him there. Yeah. I kind of looked at him like, do I know him? He kind of looks like a bit of a celebrity himself.
You know who he reminds me of? He reminds me of one of them, just from their movies, like the Italian dads.
The Godfather, sort of like a
Oh, yeah, he does.
one of the mafia boss.
Or like, you know the Weasley guys that are like, hey, boss, you want me to get him, boss?
You calling him a weasel, bro? Or-
No, he's not a weasel. He's not a weasel.
He'd smash you.
He would smash me. He looks very athletic, and
Yeah.
he's got more hair than I do.
Yeah.
So NRL, it's gearing up. There's a lot of big games happening at the moment, and the ladder is tight, Timmy. The Storm have kicked out in front. And
Congratulations to him.
yeah, they've locked up the minor premiership, 42 points. They're 2 points clear. But with the Panthers' loss on the weekend, the top 4 consists of 3 teams on 36 points, and the Bulldogs eligible to make that top 4 because they're on 34 points. If they lose to the Manly Sea Eagles this week, then I think it's doors closed for them. But their for and against is quite close to Penrith.
Yep.
But Penrith just have to win the last 2
Only
games.
12 points behind us. Yep.
And then 9th to 12th, 26 points.
Yeah.
I've
Hard to
said-
tip who's going to be that final 8th spot, isn't it? Every now and then I'm like, because I remember a couple of weeks ago, like, that's the final 8 and that's not changing. But I look at it now and I'm kind of a bit of a, with Kevy coming out and going, we will play finals. Like, I like someone who says that and sets themselves up for that failure of, oh, well, you said you didn't, you know what I mean? I really like that mentality. Just channel it, believe it, say it. I like it. And I've been a big fan of wanting the Broncos to be in the 8 because I generally wanted to see the Brisbane Broncos and the Penny Panthers rematch, but I think there's probably better grand finals than that now.
In my opinion, a coach coming out and saying that when they're relying on other teams to lose and other results to fall their way to make the 8,
Puts a lot of pressure.
I think it's him trying to be assertive and trying to be that guy that you're picturing. But he's not. He's a beta that's relying on other people. He needs his mum to feed him milk at a night time to go to sleep. Like, you just can't come out and say we will make finals when you're relying on other results. If you were playing the Dragons and like if you were playing the Dragons one week and then the Dolphins the other week, so pretty much your draw directly coincides with the people around you,
Yeah.
then I understand that comment.
Yeah.
But they need to rely on the Dragons losing. They need to rely on. They need to win both of their games. If the Dragons lose any, then how's their for and against? Yeah, they win on for and against.
Yeah, that is interesting. I didn't actually consider that point. That the Dragons have to drop a game. Like for them, that's very saying what is out of your control, isn't it? That's
we will make finals. They play the Raiders in the last round, and they play Parramatta this week. So 2 very winnable games for the St. George Illawarra Dragons.
The Raiders are going to be right up for that. I reckon people are putting a line through the Raiders.
Yeah, but the Raiders are in that kind of plethora of
I'm
teams.
not to say that I won't put a line through them as in like, I'm not going to make the 8. I probably don't think they're going to make the 8 either, but I'm just like more from people are kind of like discounting that they're not a decent side. They're gritty as hell. Like, they're gritty. They can have a bad week, which they did a couple of weeks ago, but I reckon they're pretty gritty.
They've got a decent side too. They can score points now, which they can't. They haven't got a superstar in their side, but they can still score points. So with the Raiders, I think they're a chance. I think the Knights, if anyone drops a game, the Knights are a red hot chance. 26 points as well. They play the Titans and the Dolphins in the next 2 weeks. Are we ruling the Dolphins out?
Yeah. Yeah. I think Wayne's already
checked out.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd hate to say that. You know, my Buzz is big on it because you think he's a professional and would, finish the job off. But, put it down to the side as well. Maybe the side overperformed at the start of the year and, that they're not actually a top 8 side compared to when you look around at a lot of the others.
The Broncos also play the Storm next week. So even if St. George drop one, they would have to win that game. And if Storm are at full strength, then that's going to be a tough thing to do because the Storm's record at Suncorp is pretty good. I want to talk about Penrith because they've suddenly dropped to 4th and have the potential to miss out on the 4.
Yeah.
Mind you, they have the Rabbitohs and the Titans in the next 2 weeks at home, so their draw is quite favourable. But in your opinion, is this concerning to see this form from the Panthers without Nathan Cleary, or do you think they're just gearing up for the big thing? They're gearing up for September, and it's kind of like them dropping to 4th has kind of come up all of a sudden.
I think it is what it is. I think the team would like to have been able to play better footy with it. I think we're still fairly good for the most part. I think you just put it down to a couple of errors in our own end. Silly mistakes like Dane Laurie has been dropped, and I think for good reason. He's been great in attack and filling in at times, but I think Ivan replacing Taruva there with him, he's just there. The mistakes he makes running out of his own end, he just gets tackled and the ball just finds its way out. He just gets squashed and it happens too much, and it's just not our style of play to put ourselves under pressure in our own end like that regularly, and so I don't mind it, man. Like from a Penrith point of view, like as a fan, like it's exciting. It's a different challenge, and you've got people writing us off now, sort of going, oh yeah, Storm are probably better, and the Roosters are way better chance, and they've lost Nuff and Cleary's shoulder. If they don't have Cleary, then they can't win without Cleary. All of this, if we win with or without Cleary, it's just a more difficult journey and just adds more resilience, and it just builds like more of like what this Penrith side is, So I'm excited for the challenge. If we lose, you can't win them all, and the run has to come to an end eventually.
Oh well, I hope it doesn't, because I want to see history unfold with Penrith.
Yeah, I'm definitely not writing them off. I believe in them.
Obviously,
for sure.
if Manly make it, I want Manly to win, but I still love watching Penrith win.
Thank you.
But they've made a different journey every year. Like undefeated in 2020, lost in the grand final.
Yep.
2021, they defended their way to glory. They got to the first week of the semi-finals, they lost, so they had to go the long way to get to the grand final, and they won the grand final. 2022, they were just dominant. Like they're just by far the best team in the competition. 2023 was very similar, but they had the Broncos come on top of them in the grand final, and they came back from resilience there.
And one other thing I want to touch on with the Panthers too, and like this is the side that's been in the last 4 grand finals, and you just got to look at every other side except for obviously the Storm, who have been up and around thereabouts always. They're always a top 4 side. You look at Eels, Broncos, and Bunnies. They're all out of the 8. We've lost more players, so it's remarkable. We're still in fourth with the injuries and stuff, and the boys that have all just plugged in. So super proud of them. Very nervous about the vibe that's around teams like particularly the Doggies, and then the Storm and the Roosters really as the big dogs kind of scare me. But the Sharkies are just kind of playing really fast, quick, ruthless, clinical footy that, if you don't turn up against them, they'll get the job done too.
It's funny. I think I said this earlier in the year, but the teams that start really well and go through like a lull in the middle of the year tend to come back to an even better point later in the year because at some stage teams need their lull.
And they've learned something from that experience usually as well, and what they needed to improve on.
So the Sharks could be a team that everybody's writing off that maybe they take this form into the finals, which is good. The refs on the weekend, Timmy. Thursday night, 3 players from Manly were sent off very controversially, I guess, but to the standards of how the game has been reffed lately, probably not controversially. I think it was just the nitpicking, especially that first one. They gave a warning, and pretty much it was their last warning. And
he said they're giving you a couple.
More off.
Yep. And they happen.
Personally, in my opinion, they were nitpicking at penalties prior to that anyway. So it's quite...
It was so non-stop, hey?
It's so frustrating because I feel like they look for penalties, and it's so hard to put a rule on the game whether certain things should be sin bins because...
maybe the players are pushing it too, pushing the envelope too far, laying in tackles too much, and just all these little things, not getting back. They're like, mate, get back.
Yeah.
And you're just not doing it, mate. I've got to pull you up. So it's a tough battle, man. Refs, it's like them versus 26. So
sure.
And the rest of the world that's fucking shitting on them. So
yeah, it's a tough kind of game for the refs, and I just think the inconsistency is frustrating for the fans.
The inconsistency, that's the problem, man. And
it's typified with the Stephen Crichton non-sin bin on Friday night.
Yeah.
And now he's suspended for a week.
Yeah, it's a toughie.
And it's just frustrating to watch.
Seeing that one live, I didn't know that there was a head high. It was only when I saw RTS sort of do a bit of a stagger. I was like, oh, there's something in this. What happened here? And then they showed the replay, and I mean, it's kind of like he was just, for me, Critter was, I was, on him hard saying that he shouldn't be sticking his nose in people's mouth the other week, but I kind of defend him on this one. I love Critter, so it's not like I'm trying to make a case either way to either support or, I would more support him. But anyways, yeah. But I think that he was kind of just standing there. He kind of lowered his body as well as the player lowered, and it just, the one for me with Cam Murray, that's definitely worse. This player's being held up, he's got time in his arms swung around, and it's different for me.
I know a lot of people say that shouldn't take injury into consideration when doing a sin bin, but he was obviously gone for the game at that point. Do they need to take it into account? Because if that's careless into the head and Roger Tuivasa-Sheck is out for the game, then the Bulldogs need to be disadvantaged somehow. Because I get it opens up such a grey area in case there is an accident, but if you're in a position where you hit someone in the head and they do go off for the game for a HIA, then I don't think it's that ridiculous to sin bin someone for 10 minutes. I get sending someone off for the game is a bit extreme sometimes because things are accidents, but if someone is gone for the game, then I do think it should be taken into account.
Yeah, I see what you mean, because they've copped the loss and they're the ones that's suffering and, trying to get a win, and then next week whoever that team plays, then they get the advantage of having that player missing or whatever. Yeah, it's tough. When I look at that, I could go either way. Hey, I can sit there and I listened to Braith last night sort of saying a bit maybe we're just going too hard on head contact. There's going to be head contact. We just got to be more specific on, which ones we're, being harsher on and stuff and penalising. And some should just be more penalties rather than send-offs and stuff. And maybe that's the case.
Yeah.
But then I'm also on the vibe of maybe just keep drumming it, and you just have to avoid the head. There's just so much. Maybe they just have to. and just keep sending people off and like while they are making contact because. With the more...
I don't think they're meaning to do it, but like by drumming this in, are they going to force...
No one's meaning, but if you just, instead of going, you might just have to lower your contact area. Like,
what do you think that forces...
Maybe the whole tackling technique needs to evolve again.
Go back to the legs tackle.
Yeah, so that sort of chop it out, and then maybe you'd have to accommodate and give, slower play the balls and stuff, because that's why the wrestles obviously come in. You get to slow and manage the...
That'd be a train wreck though, because people could still catch and wrestle.
Yeah. It's. I don't know that there's ever going to be an answer. I think that whatever we do, we just need to find consistency. But it's hard to find consistency because no two incidents are ever exactly the same, and you can try compare, a Cam Murray moment to Crichton or another moment, and they're always slightly a bit different.
Yeah.
Expect different expectations. I do like the idea of what they were saying though on 360 about sort of going to just letting the ref feel it out and trust their feel.
I like
rather than slowing it down and breaking it all down and stuff like.
I do like that.
Because if you get a vibe like that seemed very malicious.
Yeah.
You know what you were doing just there. You came out there and you were like, nah.
Yeah.
But yeah, then you can feel them sometimes, right?
I agree with that.
Like remember when Latrell just came out on Manu and just did that like mad body shot, like head shot sort of like 2-ish years ago?
Yeah.
At the time you felt like, all right, you're trying to kill a bloke.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And then they're looking at it, trying to defend it.
Maybe more penalties, less send-offs. Because penalties can still really, really change a game, you know what I mean? Like, and the momentum. Whereas the send-offs, though, that almost kind of decides a result in a lot of cases.
They're way too trigger happy with it, but I don't want to see more penalties because I don't want more stoppages. I think do the players just need to...
The stoppages were yuck. Yeah, so slow.
Especially in that Manly game. And I think they tried to overcorrect it in the Bulldogs game. And it's just frustrating when you see one side, so many penalties, heaps of send-offs, and then the other one, not many, and no send-offs.
It's tough, isn't it? Because they're getting hammered for going too hard, and so they try to pull back on their next game a little bit because you've gone too hard, but then you're also getting hammered for not being consistent. But had you have just been consistent, they would have just got hammered still for what the hell's going on. So it's like you can't win.
What they should do is come out and say their intentions. Like Graham Mannersley coming out on a Monday.
Transparency.
He tries to be transparent, but he takes no accountability whatsoever. He pretty much said, we got them all right, except the Stephen Crichton one. Yeah, that we messed that up. But more often than not, we're not getting it wrong. And I think he's not taking enough accountability, and he's really got to just decide what direction they want to go in. Do they want to let more stuff go, or do they want to crack down? And
it's interesting times. It's right before the finals and stuff too. I think they're trying to work it out a bit now.
Yeah, well, especially with the blockers the other week, the timing just felt like, okay, this is something they're going to implement in finals because they know there's going to be some field goals, and they don't want that. They don't want it to look bad on them that they missed something like this.
I like what either Billy Slater or Cooper Cronk, one of them said something really smart on it about how a playmaker now just can't take an instinctual shot anywhere without his whole team having to be notified and informed I'm taking a shot. And an individual should be able to just have an individual instinctual play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of like that. Yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah, it is a tough one. But
the evolving game.
If they're consistent with that, then, random field... I love field goals in the game. I think field goals are great. But...
I don't know. I prefer golden try. We're talking about like golden points and stuff like that.
I do, but also
I do like a field goal in play in the 80 minutes.
I like the spectacle of the big dog taking the shot and getting it from like 40 out. Like Nathan Cleary against the Parramatta Eels that time. It wasn't golden point, but it was to even the game.
Yeah.
Jonathan Thurston in golden point in the grand final. Like you take away them moments, but then again, you
would have a different moment though.
Yeah, with a potentially better moment.
Cooler try or something,
Tom Trbojevic has approached Manly Sea Eagles to potentially get a $750,000 pay cut over 2 years. The NRL has denied the request. Firstly, do you think... Is this bullshit?
I feel like the Trbojevic family would see that as an honourable thing to do. You know what I mean? Like, I just see them as very honourable.
I forgot to preface with he offered to take the pay cut because he missed so many games over the last few years. It's something I 100% see him doing.
Like I couldn't take that. Wouldn't be wrong of me. I mean, I'll take only what I'm worth. You know, like
I've got too much money.
I could see that. Whereas anyone else would be like, no, buddy, give it here, and that he'll get what you take. You know, but it's weird though because putting himself to a different standard where you got all these other players for other sides that are getting injured as well, but they're still it's interesting.
I feel like the NRL denying the request is pretty. I feel like they should have looked into it a little bit more.
I like it. Just deny it. You can't renegotiate your deal.
Well, you can.
I don't think you should. Like, I don't think that's right because that's sort of manipulating. So we can then account for our salary cap there. Then you could get paid back in coming years and stuff. It's a bit sneaky.
But with Tom Trbojevich's wage, it still would have seen him get paid like $850,000 a year, which I think is still.
It's massive money.
I mean, it's a lot more than I get paid.
But if the amount of money that he's dropping is a lot for people who have that sort of money as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Interesting call. But yeah, I think Tom Trbojevic is an awesome bloke for at least even if the club approached him to be like, hey, pay cut, for him to entertain the idea. That just screams good bloke. Market watch, Schuster to the Rabbitohs. What are your thoughts on this?
I can hear he's going to go anywhere. It's probably the right place. Wayne Bennett will be the right guy to whip him into line. He's done okay with TPJ. You know what I mean? He could have been a complete basket case, but he's been serviceable. And, I think Schuster's got a lot to offer. He just needs to whip himself into shape a little bit. So hopefully he goes well.
Agree. I see their pack. I'm very excited because I think that pack all of a sudden looks really good. It looks Colin Matangi and Jai Arrow in the front row, Josh Schuster on the left edge, Ewan Aitken on the right edge, and then Cameron Murray at lock. I think that's awesome for him. If Wayne gets the best out of him, then that left edge, Alex Johnston, will break the record next year. It's funny, I was looking at the record. Daniel Tupou's just made the top 10 list, 160 tries. Tom Trbojevic just hit his 100th try the other week. He's 26 years old, so if he plays for another 6 years and gets 20 tries a year...
Remarkable as a fullback, isn't it?
He can... Tom Trbojevic can potentially break that record.
Ponga's only had one try for the year in 13 games. Yeah.
Has he actually?
Yeah.
Wow.
And you got Turbo just pumping them out game after game. Teddy's looking pretty good for tries as well recently, but Ponga's just not really finding the line. But I always picture him scoring and doing he does like a fist.
Tom Trbojevic?
No, Ponga.
Yeah.
I picture him I feel like I've seen him do more than one.
Maybe they're just the
highlights that they're showing. Yeah.
So James Tedesco has scored 133 tries.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
That's impressive, eh?
But he's probably not. He probably doesn't have another 6 years left in him.
Nah.
Or does he?
Oh, you wouldn't think so.
I don't know. I think he's 31.
Maybe he gets to that point of it. How old is he?
31.
Yeah, I feel like mainly like your halves could go to that old. Fullbacks don't usually go to that age.
What, you reckon he's got 3-4 years left?
I don't want to put a number on him.
He could have 5 years left, and let's just say he scores 15 tries a year. That's 75 tries. It will see him get close. But yeah, that race, Tom Trbojevic, he's red hot chance for that. Do you think anyone will get close to that who is in the current NRL stocks at the moment? Campiera, 43 tries in 42 games.
Yeah. He's if he can just stay on the park and
not
have a long enough career, he could be anything.
Yeah,
as long as he keeps that speed too, and I don't think he'll drop too much because he's so tiny as well.
I guess the Fox would have been someone who a lot of people would have tipped off, but he's
come back a bit,
he's lost a bit of speed.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to some games. I've got 3 games for you.
I've got one for you.
Oh, do ya?
Yeah.
All right, this is the game show. All right. Who should be the next immortal, Nathan Cleary or Brett Kenny?
I obviously haven't seen enough of Brett Kenny, but I think they've passed on him enough. But it wouldn't, yeah, Brett Kenny, not Nathan Cleary, because you've got to have like other people before him. Like,
Who should be the next one?
I'll go with Brett Kenny.
Brett Kenny or Cooper Cronk?
Yeah, I'll go with Brett Kenny still.
Brett Kenny or Jonathan Thurston?
Well, if you're going to make Brett Kenny an immortal, I think you need to make him before any of the... It's not about who's better. It's about progression, I reckon. I hate this whole order.
Let's just say who's the best player.
Yeah, that's better. Yeah.
So say who you think.
I'll go Thurston over Brett Kenny.
Jonathan Thurston or Billy Slater?
I'll go Billy Slater.
Billy Slater or Cameron Smith?
Cameron Smith.
Cameron Smith or Darren Lockyer?
Cameron Smith.
Cameron Smith or Brad Fittler?
Cameron Smith.
In my opinion, based on the Immortal chart, if someone who has played after you is more deserving of a Immortal status and you've already been passed on a couple of times, then the likes of Brett Kenny, Darren Lockyer and Brad Fittler should probably be passed on. Yeah,
I think it's weird to sort of dibble back. I'm really happy for...
I think the Ron Coote introduction into the Immortal... I thought that was great,
especially because they had like there was like a whole bunch of years where it sort of fell off a bit because it was like that was that magazine Rugby League Week or something like that. I think they used to do the scoring back in the day, and then there's a bit of catching up I reckon that they need to do, and that's fine. There's no rush to be I think Joey got lucky with the space of time that he had off the field, but I'm a massive fan of him, so I kind of love that he is just already immortalised.
Well, I like that he is the 8th because I think he deserves...
Rolls off the tongue
too. It rolls off the tongue and it's like just so palatable. He was always going to be one and he was undeniably going to be one. I think if Cameron Smith got named at last...
I would have wanted to be the 7th though for the number, wouldn't you? That'd be sort of...
Yeah, but then straight after Joey, they announced like 4 Immortals in one. And it was like Mal Meninga, and so there's like 13 or something now. But I thought I hated that. And I thought if Joey was going to skip the line, I guess they fucked up by making Joey so early because I think Joey's time would have been right now, in my opinion. I would have felt a bit...
Or maybe on the last one?
Maybe. But I would have felt a bit uneasy if Cameron Smith got it last week. Because for me, if Darren Lockyer or Brad Fittler or Brett Kenny was going to get the Immortal status, then in my own heart, I would have thought they don't deserve it if they've already been looked past. I think Darren Lockyer's been looked past like 3 times. The voting criteria is like actually, it's so strict and they can't actually... get it every 4 years. Like it needs to be more than a certain amount of % of people need to vote for it, and if not enough votes happen, then just no one gets immortal status, which I think is very good because
rather than just forcing it.
In my opinion, Darren Lockyer shouldn't be one. Like he's not in Queensland's best 13. I think Cronk, Thurston are the halves in the best 13 and Slater's the fullback.
Yeah, it's really hard to separate like Hall of Fame and that next level of immortal. Because to say like Darren Lockyer is amazing, but it's hard to... I find them all hard to separate and say. But I'm just real confident on, guys like Billy Slater, best in the position. Cam Smith, another example of that. I think they stand out to me a bit above, like, I'm a massive Freddie guy too. But
All right, I've got 2 more games. All right, I'll do one first and then you do yours. All right. So blind rank these players to kick a field goal for you to save your life. So Jack Cogger.
Blind rank. Oh, yeah. Okay. I'll chuck him 5.
Jamal Fogarty.
3.
Kieran Foran.
4.
Sam Walker.
2.
Nelson Asafa Solomona.
Bloody oath. Lock him in. Have you seen him kick it before, bro? He's mad.
I purposely tried to stitch up.
Ah,
there.
that's funny. That's funny.
And I actually wrote Nelson, so I didn't just change it last minute. All right,
No worries.
your turn.
All right, yep. All right, so I've got to go through my notes. Made a lot of notes since I made this one. Yep, here we go. Oh, no. Yep, okay, so who wins in a biff? Each team's alpha edition. There might be two from some teams because it's hard to split their alpha. But, all right, who wins in a biff? Clemmer or Kolomatangi?
Kolomatangi.
Kolomatangi or Joe Tarpany?
Kolomatangi.
Kolomatangi or Jason Tomalolo?
Kolomatangi.
Kolomatangi or TPJ?
Kolomatangi.
TPJ boxing career? No.
Doesn't
Oh,
have
what are they?
brains, though.
Yeah, okay. Kolomatangi or Kickout?
Kolomatangi.
Kolomatangi or Junior Paulo?
Kolomatangi.
Kolomatangi or Terrell May?
Oh. Terrell May.
Terrell May or Jared Warrior Hardgraves?
Terrell May.
Terrell May or Barnett?
Ooh. See,
Seems quite hard.
I imagine Terrell May, like, he's got a bit of speed about him, but he's got heaps of, like, weight and strength behind him as well. So, with Barnett, like, half of these guys would win in, like strength tests and stuff like that. But I just feel like Terrell May's street smart. He grew up in Mount Druitt. I'll go Terrell May.
Terrell May or AFB?
Terrell May.
Terrell May or O'Shea Ole?
Terrell May would pump the cunt.
Terrell May or James Fisher-Harris?
James Fisher-Harris.
James Fisher-Harris or Nelson Asola? I can't do it. Big Nelson. Asofa.
Well, we've seen Nelson fight, and I think the punches he threw were haymakers. So I'm going James Fisher-Harris.
Fish coming in, yeah.
James
like
Fisher-Harris.
Cool.
That's it?
Yep.
Oh, I like how you're persisting with this as a series because it did very well on TikTok and Instagram.
Right.
And it's like genuinely exciting. Like,
Ooh.
would you have disagreed with any? Like, did I go too far with Kolomatangi?
Maybe, but he's pretty beastie, eh? And
just
like
him versus Clemmer.
I just got a bit caught up in the fact that TPJ and Junior Paul have boxing history, but I don't think they're like lights out mad boxers.
Was it a street fight or a boxer? Or a boxing
Yeah, true.
match?
Like it's a biff, so it's
Yeah.
probably on the field.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon, yeah. I'm happy with my decisions.
Yeah.
All
Good
right,
fun.
last game, it's categories. So you need to guess the player. I'm going to say, like, things, and you got to guess the player.
You're going to say some things?
Yeah.
Okay,
You-
yeah.
You'll understand the
Okay,
game. Mount Franklin.
Scott Drinkwater.
Oh, you've got hang of the game. Tuna, salmon, bass.
Oh, Brimson?
No.
I was going to say salmon until you said salmon
No.
because that was... Okay, so it's another Fisher Harris.
Yes.
Yep.
Nos. V8.
Turbo.
Yes.
Tommy Turbo.
Canoe.
Kale Earl.
That's all I got for now. Or should I just add some more?
Oh,
on the
if you
fly?
don't have any, you'll make them up. And
I'll add some more on the fly.
yeah.
All right.
Oh, you got some? Yeah, see what you
all
can
right.
do.
All right. Grapes.
Oh.
Grapes. Sultanas.
Sweet.
Blueberries.
Blueberries.
Strawberries.
Fruit.
Week. Month. Year.
I got nothing. What is it? I was thinking Kyle Weeks when you said week, but yeah, what?
Daily Cherry Evans.
Daily Cherry Evans. Okay. Oh yeah. Some fruit, yeah,
I got it the wrong way around, but
Yeah,
let's go. Okay. Oh shit. Okay. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6.
The Count. Minicello.
The Fast and the Furious. Fast and the Furious 3.
I don't know. I can't.
1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. 7 minus 5.
It's 2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know what you're doing here. To'o? Brian To'o?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
What else have we got? Let's try one more.
Kraft singles.
Ooh. Oh, cheese.
Yeah.
The cheese.
Brendan Smith, that's right.
All right. Let's go. I've got none. I've got none. Oh, okay. Disney. Inc.
Disney Inc. Disney
Inc.
Incorporated. Monsters Inc. Monster. Disney Incorporated.
Yes.
Monster?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, that'll do. All right,
Thanks for playing.
I thoroughly enjoyed that.
I was a big fan of Burjo's catchphrase back in the day. It might be a bit. It was a game show. It was just like it came on like a bit after like Wheel of Fortune or. Did you ever watch Wheel of Fortune?
Yes.
Yeah, The Price is Right and stuff.
Yes. Love
Those
them
good
games.
old times, mate.
You know, this
Bring
is
it
what
back.
this is what we got to incorporate. Anyway, thank you for listening to the episode.